It was Friday morning, 7 a.m. in New York. Ryan was moving fast, a sense of nervous excitement propelling him forward. He had a weekend planned with his girlfriend, Cynthia. 3 whole days, just the two of them. They'd been dating for 3 months, and this getaway was supposed to be their special time. Ryan sped through his morning routine, grabbing his go bag and shoving a sandwich in his mouth, while trying to manage the chaos of his apartment. Finally, as the elevator doors closed with a soft ding, he straightened his coat and took a deep breath, ready for what he thought would be an ordinary trip. Thousands of miles away in California, Kristie, the daughter of a famous celebrity, was just waking up in her mother's summer house. She groaned from under a pile of blankets, lazily reaching for her phone. Her friends were off to a yacht party in Hawaii, but she just wasn't feeling it. She sent them a quick message to go on without her and then dragged herself to the bathroom. Steam filled the small room as the shower ran. Water suddenly gushed from the sink. Startled, she slipped on the wet floor. Her head hit the cold tile and everything went dark. Back in New York, Ryan did one last check of his pocket. He could feel the small box pressing against his fingers, the engagement ring. He swallowed hard. He had to get this right. He reached the elevator lobby and stepped inside, but just as the doors closed, it stopped. A complete, unnerving silence fell. Confusion quickly turned to panic. The elevator was completely still. Ryan threw his weight against the doors, tugging with all his might until he finally forced them open. But the world outside, it was wrong. The familiar New York streets, the towering buildings, all gone. In their place was a barren, desert-like expanse. The ground was cracked and dry, stretching to an endless horizon. A strange red sun hung low in the sky, and next to it, a couple of moons floated like silent witnesses. Despite the blinding sun, the air was chilling, biting at his exposed skin. Ryan's heart hammered against his ribs. He called out, his voice swallowed by the emptiness. No one answered. The only signs of civilization were a few abandoned buildings, their windows shattered, doors hanging loosely from their hinges. Then a sound from behind him, a sharp, pained cry that made him freeze. He instinctively grabbed a piece of broken steel pipe from the ground and turned slowly toward the noise. There, huddled on the floor in her pajamas, was a girl holding her head. Her scream sent a jolt of ice through his veins. "What are you doing?" she cried out, her eyes wide with fear. Ryan was just as confused. "Who are you?" he stammered, the steel pipe still raised. She scrambled to her feet, backing away. To her, this must have looked like some kind of twisted prank, or worse. Ryan tried to lower his weapon, but his mind was spinning, unable to process what he was seeing. He kept a careful distance as she ran outside into the desolate landscape. Minutes later, curiosity or maybe desperation brought her back. Kristie's voice trembled as she demanded answers. "Where are we? What is going on?" Ryan studied her, his guard still up. Trust was a luxury he couldn't afford in this new world. After what felt like hours of tense silence, he finally spoke. "My name is Ryan." She hesitated for a long moment before introducing herself. "Kristie." The red sun hung high in the sky, yet a strange twilight seemed to be creeping in far too quickly. They decided to move toward one of the abandoned buildings for shelter. Inside, the place was a bizarre mix of decay and life. Green vegetation had forced its way through cracks in the floors and walls, as if the building had been left to rot for decades. The layout was strange. It wasn't an apartment building like Ryan's. It looked more like a school, or maybe offices, twisted into an alien landscape by years of neglect. They chose a room on an upper floor, barricaded the door, and tried to make it a temporary home. Ryan pulled out his phone and turned on the flashlight. No signal, of course. The world outside their makeshift shelter was quiet, almost too quiet, broken only by the soft rustle of leaves growing through the shattered windows. They huddled together, two strangers in a world that made no sense, the tension thick between them. The sun's eerie red glow filtered through the broken panes, casting long, unnatural shadows that seemed to shift and dance. Ryan's mind raced, trying to make sense of the impossible reality he found himself in. Kristie stayed close, her eyes wide, one hand gently touching the faint bruise on her head from her fall. She kept whispering questions that he couldn't answer. He had no answers. All he knew was that the city, their lives, their plans, everything they knew had been swallowed by this endless, impossible desert. Night fell with an unnatural speed. The 2 moons rose, casting a cold, distant light over the ruins. The temperature dropped sharply, and their small room became a fragile bubble of warmth against the biting cold. Exhausted, Ryan leaned back against the wall. After a while, Kristie rested her head on his shoulder, both of them trying to process the sheer impossibility of their situation. Despite the fear, a silent understanding began to form between them. Survival had to come first. The answers would have to wait. Outside, the wind whispered through the ruins, carrying strange noises with it. In the distance, Ryan could see shapes moving in the shadows, creatures, or maybe just his imagination. He gripped his makeshift weapon tighter. Whatever this world was, it didn't care about their plans, their relationships, or their weekends away. Ryan and Kristie were on their own now, trapped in a place where the rules of Earth no longer applied. And every moment could change everything. Thanks for watching. If you want to see what happens next to Ryan and Kristie, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. See you in the next one.